A special address by Mr. G.C. Pati, Chairman of Central Groundwater Board. His topic is Sustainable Management of Groundwater Resources. So I hand over the floor to Mr. Pati.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was just listening to the previous discussion, which was definitely a very lively one and was on a different topic. Now I'll be talking about the sustainable management of groundwater resources. As we all are aware that water is called the elixir of life, because we all know that it is the vital element for the growth of economy and is the critical component of our ecology. And if we consider the case of India, with about only 4% of the world renewable water resources, India has to sustain about 17% of the world's population. And our total precipitation and snowfall, etc., which receive around 3,880 billion cubic meters. But actual utilizable water is only 1,122 billion cubic meters. Surface water 690, and then groundwater is 432. So, with the growing population and increase in demand for water for agriculture, industrial needs, drinking purposes, and also commercial sectors, etc., it has put the water resource into a very crisis situation. There is already conflicts. We are seeing conflicts between the nations, between countries, and there is conflict between states, and also nowadays also there is conflict between sectors. That is your industrial sector, farming sector, etc. And if you say, on the other hand, the surface water which was available to us to such a huge quantity, now there is pollution is increasing to a great extent in our rivers. Salinity is increasing, and about 80% of the wastewater, that is the most important paradox and irony, is that 80% of the wastewater is being discharged into the environment without adequate treatment. If you see the per capita water availability in India, which was about 5,200 cubic meters during independence, around 1951, it has gradually reduced, and India has entered to condition of stress, water stress condition by the year 2011, and with the business as usual, we may face water scarcity condition in the next half of this century. And again, the temporal and spatial availability of water is also very much of concern. Out of that, if we consider, the groundwater is the most preferred source that everybody of us know, because of so many advantages. It is available almost everywhere. It's a reliable resource because people can have there is ease of access and operation, and there is economy in its operation because the surface water costs. Groundwater till now was not having an enormous cost, and again the most important is the independence in operation. For groundwater abstraction, people need not depend upon others. So for that reason, the groundwater has been exploited to a great extent. So to give one paradoxical position of India, that India tops the list of top 10 groundwater abstracting countries in the world. Our groundwater abstraction, which is about 249 billion cubic meters per annum, it accounts for about 1/4 of the total withdrawal of the world, and it is more than USA and China taken together, which are at second and third places respectively. And we use about 85% of the rural water supply that comes from groundwater. Then about 50% of the urban water supply comes from groundwater. And again, groundwater caters to about 62% of the total irrigated area in India. And by far it accounts for about 9% of the gross domestic product of India. But again, another paradox, that though all our efforts were concentrated to have dams, big dams and reservoirs since independence, but after 1970, whatever irrigated area has been added, 80% of that has been added through groundwater. And if you consider in the last 2 decades, the groundwater irrigated area has increased by almost, it has doubled. So for that reason, though our overall groundwater stage of groundwater extraction in India is about 63%, but we are having about 17% of our groundwater assessment units as overexploited, and about 20% are either critical or semi-critical. So under these circumstances, if we go see the water quality, that is also not encouraging. In our northern states, particularly Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, the groundwater abstraction is more than 100%. That means the annual replenishable groundwater resource is being exploited to such an extent that we are mining almost, typically we can say that literally we are mining groundwater in these areas. And in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, it is between 75 and 100%. And in the rest of the country, it is lower than that. And if we now consider the water quality, we have a problem of arsenic, which is concentrated on either side of river Ganga. Then we have fluoride, which is widespread in so many states. Then we have salinity in the coastal areas and also inland areas, in the desert areas. And then iron problem is there in the eastern, northeastern states. And there are also nitrate problem, which is quite widespread because of so many reasons. Mostly it is because of the anthropogenic activities in human activities. And also the pesticides and fertilizers, etc. pollution is also being noticed in several places. So the major challenges in the groundwater sector is the unequal distribution. As I've already said, that the groundwater is not evenly distributed. And then the per capita water availability, which was quite satisfactory and high in the past, it is gradually reducing, and it will go on reducing unless we take some specific measures. We have overexploitation so widespread, and this contamination and gradually degrading water quality, that is also another concern. And again, the most important part, which the industries mostly and also the agricultural sector should be concerned about, is that high water footprint, both industrial and agricultural sector. We use so much of water. We almost the water footprint. That means the use of water per unit production, maybe it is agricultural production or industrial production. We use so much of water that it is higher than any other country in the world. And adding to it, we have a very regional mismatch in the water availability. And if you see that about 80 to 90% of the precipitation, it occurs in the monsoon season. There are some talk about the geospatial data. It is very well known. And again, 50% of the water availability lies in the Ganga-Brahmaputra basin. And our rivers, which are coming out of Himalaya only, those are perennial. And the peninsular rivers are not perennial. Then the distribution, spatio-temporal distribution of groundwater is also similarly dismal. The 70% of the resources are confined to the alluvial areas, which occupy only 20% of the geographical area. And there is heavy dependence on groundwater, which is causing overexploitation. And the availability and sustainability of groundwater in the hard rock areas is also a concern. We have very less water in these areas. And again, in the desertic areas, in the arid areas, the recharge potential is also less. What are the possible solutions? That is basically the topic which I need to discuss here. The solutions is mostly management. So we should have both supply side management and also demand side management. So coming to the supply side management, we all know that the precipitation, even if there is so much advocacy of this climate change, the overall precipitation, average precipitation over the so many years has remained more or less constant. Whereas we are gradually facing more and more water scarcity. So for that reason, we have to have the supply side management measures, that is managed aquifer recharge. We should go for resource augmentation. Then the rainwater should be properly harvested and either put to beneficial use or it should be recharged into ground. So the water harvesting, rainwater harvesting and artificial recharge is the one of the answers of sustainable groundwater management. Again, we should reduce our water footprint. As I have already said that we have the highest footprint among the world in all the productions. So there is a lot of scope of reducing that. Already in the agriculture sector, efforts are being made to go for micro irrigation and crop rotation and all the other things. And the most important thing is that, as I have already said, because the water available from the precipitation is limited, that is constant. So we should go for recycle, reuse, reduce, reallocate, and this water. And again, urban water cycling and reuse is most important. Nowadays, we are facing in almost all the urban areas, we are facing water scarcity. But we can say that 80% of the water is being put at, which can be recycled and reused at the proper locations. And we may have advanced desalination methods where there are problem of groundwater loss, just like in southern states. And there should also be focus on the demand management side. And another most important thing that we are having a lot of areas where the aquifers, though are having sufficient volume of water, are gradually getting contaminated and deteriorated. So those have to be given proper focus, not to further deteriorate. One of the important criteria is the providing safe drinking water in these areas, in poor water quality areas. So for that, specific techniques which have been developed need to be employed. We have developed one cement sealing technique in arsenic affected areas, which has been fruitfully used. So CWB's that technique is being used in West Bengal, is used in Uttar Pradesh and elsewhere. And again, there should be sufficient awareness and legal steps should be there to avoid the contamination. And we should also go for the in situ remediation. Treatment techniques which use in situ remediation techniques have come up, though they are not in much use now, but that has to be used so that the slightly lesser or poor quality of groundwater can also be used. And again, the industries, the industrial effluents, which are the most important concern for polluting the groundwater, they may go for reducing their discharge. Maybe that ZLD, now is that concept, zero liquid discharge, may be ensured. And again, in the agricultural sector, the fertilizers and pest management should be proper. And also in the coastal areas where we are having so much of problem that there is possibility of ingress of saline water, there also the pumping should be regulated. And again, if we go for the demand side management, we can have in three sectors, that is domestic, agriculture and industrial sector. As far as the domestic sector is concerned, we can always go for the water saving devices. Nowadays, even in all these spheres, you get this type of advertisement, paper, newspapers, print media, and even televisions, and everywhere they'll be showing you how you can reduce. Normally, we should have such type of equipment so that we can reduce the water uses. And recycled water can be used in places where it can be used, such like your gardens, secondary uses like washing cars and other places. And then another measure which can impose, because we have to restrict these things, water meter should be installed for all the consumers, or group of consumers, which can give an idea to them that how much water they are using, so that they can go for conserving water. And that may be a progressive water tariff. That is most important. The water is free now, so there should be a tariff so that people realize its importance. And then sewage and domestic effluents to be piped out separately, should be piped out separately, so that it should not contaminate the water resources. If you go for the agriculture, that about 88% of our extracted water is utilized for irrigation. So this is the sector where nearly we should focus for our conserving the water. The cropping pattern should be changed. In some of the states already, the political decisions have been taken to go for change in cropping pattern. They have provided some MSP, and then also they are giving some incentives for people. So this should be encouraged, and this may go a long way in sustainable management. There should be micro irrigation, drip and sprinkler systems, etc. Water saving technology should be used. That is being used also now. And then water use efficiency should be improved. As I've already said, the water footprint is very high, so that should be reduced. And again, in the industrial sector, the industries need to be more water sustainable, and there should be a progressive water tariff for the industrial sector. Already, Central Groundwater Authority has come up with a tariff structure which may to some extent help in this regard. There should be water audit in the industries, as I've already said, that the water footprint of our industry is also so high. So that should be water audit. They should try to reduce significantly their water use, which can be done, in fact. And then treated urban sewage water for wherever it can be used, the industry should use that. So just for cooling and other purposes, it can be done. And then there should be proper regulation mechanisms. Already, the many states, around 16 states in India, they have come up with their own groundwater authorities, and also Central Groundwater Authority is also managing this regulation measures in throughout India, where the states do not have. So these measures should be properly and religiously implemented. There may be a polluter pay principle, because the pollution is actually reducing our freshwater resources to a great extent. So, since I was allotted only 15 minutes, let me conclude that we should have a water security policy that should consist of groundwater, surface water, sea water, rainwater, recycled water, everything. Because now everything is now considered in a separate organizations. There should be one organization which should think it in an integrated manner. And the innovations with successful integration of science and technology, and the most important, the community mass participation, which is required, because people should be involved in the management of resources. So this will enable us in sustainability of groundwater resource, and we can overcome the challenges which we envisage for the future. So thank you.